to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be doing one of our special episodes for the Christmas holidays. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the holidays, enjoying the Christmas, during New Year's. I don't know when this episode's coming out, but hopefully you're all enjoying that. And again, if this sounds a little weird, I am recording currently in my car. If you would remember, I did this maybe a couple months ago, or maybe about a month ago from the time you're getting this, because I'm recording this one right after that. So we're doing Perfect Match. We're finishing up Perfect Match finally, because it's been forever. Now, I don't have the full episode notes that I have here, but we're just going to just dive into what I have, starting from episode 7, and we're making our way down. So I think this has something to do, this particular thing that I have here was about this weird situation between Britton and Kaz and Micah. And Micah goes to talk to Kaz and she's like, what the fuck is up with this? And Micah tells Kaz like what Nigel said to her about apparently like he's feeling her, how she's his type and whatever. And they kind of believe that Nigel's kind of messing with them, I think. And Britton goes to steal him, and he's like, okay, hold up, y'all are trying to break us up, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, but no one can break you up unless, like, you allow it to happen. And he's pissed. He walks off, and he says, I'm done. So, with this drama, I think Elise, that's what happened. Elise started the drama, didn't she? Because she's trying to get back at Micah, which is stupid. But she started the drama, but she matches with Justin, so that's that. Harry tells Jess that he is falling in love with her, which I thought was very sweet. So, of course, they match. We see Chris and Tulum match. Kaz is still raging. And Micah's like, why do you care what they say? Like, what does that matter? Because I'll tell you why, Micah. Because it's true. No one acts that way for something not being truthful. I'm just saying. I'm speaking my truth. And he's just trying to defend them. Sure, my guy. Tell yourself that. Like, don't get me wrong. Kaz is hot. But Kaz is the guy that you get down and dirty with. You don't like... I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve love and deserve to have that. But it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's ready. She says to him, you don't have to defend us. Like, she's good. They match. So Britton and Nigel, they're leaving. So that's that. Next day, we got Nick coming in. Let's do some chatting. We are mixing things up, he says. Guys, you're having a day out, and ladies, you're having a girls' day out. Okay, great. So the guys are at the pool. But then we hear footsteps, y'all. And we got all of the old ladies coming in. So now we're going to do some episode 8 here. So the ladies are like, we're back, bitches. Who said that? We're back, bitches. And it made me laugh. Maybe that's something Larissa would say. Bitches. Anyway, they are here to stir some shit up. Oh, and trust me, they do. Y'all, y'all, Perfect Match did the thing. They did a cutie situation in this season. And we'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, Lord. Harry's not about it, he says. But his actions say very differently. We'll get to it. Then Nick comes to explain himself because he just messed things up here. He says, so we're doing a thing here. This is my job, so we're doing a thing here. Trevor's here, and I'm not happy about it because, Trevor, you disappointed me. I never want to see you again. That's how I feel. He says he felt like shit after the whole situation, and I said, sir, really? Because again, I actually didn't say this. The guys that haven't showed up or who were there before are showing up the girls' day out. And yeah, so he says like he didn't feel good about that. I said, well, you came onto the show with a girlfriend. What if Chelsea said yes to you over what was his name again? I never remember his name because he's forgetful. Johnny? Jimmy. Oh, I don't care. I'll never remember his name. And you came here with a girlfriend. Like, oh God, he's gross. But he says he's into Jessica, but he says, I do think maybe she's a little too bougie for me. And I said, yeah, not so much bougie. She's just classy. And she has a daughter. And you came on here with your morals all messed up, my guy. She's not dealing with you. She's just not. She's too good for you. Anyways, Kaz is getting into some trouble. As always. More on that later, because Christine is serving said trouble, but more on that in a little bit. Harry is like, fuck off with me, ladies. I'm on lockdown. I'm not doing this. I have a girl back home. Like, I'm just not. But then he picks up a girl. So I'm like, okay, wait, what? Now, I didn't catch who he picked up. I saw him pick up a girl, but I didn't catch up who it was. It was Melinda. More on that later. So Britton talks to Elise, and Brighton talks to Elise, and he's like, I know your connection is probably like really boring. Because she describes it as really, because Justin kind of, you know what Justin reminds me of? And I'm not saying this is how this guy is. I'm just saying like he just kind of gives me those vibes. He reminds me of a Jason Mraz. And he's singing from the mirror about I'm yours and whatever. And I love that song. Don't get me wrong. And that's what he reminds me of. And I'm just like, it's a little boring. It's true. And he's like, she's like, well, I mean, he definitely makes a banging cup of coffee. And I'm just like, but you two could probably make your own banging cup of coffee. Like if that's the the bar, it's real low. And we know what? Justin really is boring because we see him talking to, I think it was Holly. And he's talking to Holly and she's like, yeah, no. She's like, you're really nice and all, you're really cool, but no. So, yeah. Christine is going hard on Cass. Like she wants that. She wants him, she wants it, she wants all that he has to offer. She wants him. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how that turns out in a little bit. Izzy talks to Micah and he's like, I'm so embarrassed with our first conversation. Sir, you should be. But he tells her I was really interested in you. And, you know, he was rambling. He's like, I said like I knew this, that. But because I think it was he said like the name of her dog or something because he saw it on Instagram. Like it was a little weird, but Izzy's not someone you have to worry about. He's harmless. He's a nice guy. So, Izzy talks to Chalu. Yeah, because they obviously had a connection. And we do talk about how Dom crashed and burned because Dom annoys everybody. I don't even want to talk about him anymore. I had faith in you. I believed in you and you ruined it. She says she's all in on Chris and that's that. Chris, however, is not. He's like, I don't mind exploring. I'm not fully in on Tulu and, you know, I think like I could have some fun with you, Xanthi, and it'd be great. Xanthi's like, oh, listen, honey. These guys are playing games and I got some tea from my girls tomorrow. Like, she's ready to just throw hands. That's the only reason she's here. Like, I don't care about these guys. I'm here to get tea. And then we hear this kerfuffle of someone kissed somebody. And you find out that we're hearing the name Harry being thrown out there. Like, oh shit, did Harry kiss somebody? Apparently, the word is that Harry kissed Melinda. And he's over here denying that he did that. He's really laying it on thick, saying she's just looking for her 15 minutes. That's the only reason she's saying anything. She's going to go after a guy that's in a good connection with somebody. Like, he's just laying it on thick as to, no, I didn't do this. I love and care for Jess. Like, I would never do this. So this is what he's going with. More on that later. Jess at their little mixer is feeling so good about Harry, and it makes me really sad because I want Jess's happiness for her and her daughter. And it's like you hear her saying, "Oh, I'm happy, I'm good," but then we're about to find out that Harry gone and potentially messed up, or at least at the very least, if Melinda was lying. I'm not saying whether she was or wasn't. We'll get to that later. If she was, then, well, that's still gonna just make things a little uncomfortable. Then we see Brighton is telling Micah that Kaz wants to explore with someone else. That he's not fully in it. I have to question this, Brighton. How do you know? Because you were barely there when they connected in the first place. You've been gone for weeks, or however long you've been gone for. So how do you know what he says? Like, you're just basing it on because you think his type is this X, Y, and Z? Anyone can alter their type. We see that with Alara and Stefan. So it's weird. Where is this coming from? Because he's lying. He's lying. He was on last season too, right? If I remember correctly. Like, he was a little bit of a shit disturber, if I'm correct. I don't remember, but anyway, everyone goes back to the house. Harry is woe is me up in the room, and Jess is like, wait, where is Harry? So they say to her, oh, he's upstairs. So she goes to talk to him, and he says, like, I didn't feel good. I've been crying. I wasn't acting the best. It was about my mannerisms. And she's like, all right. So she walks away, but she does come back and says, what happened? And he tells her, I carried Melinda to the toilet because she didn't have any shoes. And, but she said I kissed her. I didn't kiss her. Okay? I didn't. I wouldn't have done that. I didn't kiss her. She's just looking for her 15 minutes. But he apologizes. And she says, I'm disappointed, but you are being accountable. Is he though? So that makes her feel good. Okay. Kaz says, well, talk to Christine. She said, he's saying to Micah, I talked to Christine. She wanted me to kiss her. I didn't. He actually didn't. Micah says, well, I talked to Brighton and a few different times. And he said some things to me. And she doesn't want to tell him, which actually bothers the hell out of me too. It's like, just tell him what he said. Like, it's childish to not just say it. But he says, no, tell me. So she does say what Brighton said to her. And he's like, see, now I'm mad because you weren't going to tell me that. You were just going to fester that and then probably throw it in my face later. Like, you should have just told me instead of me having to, like, get it out of you, which I do agree with. Anyway. And she says to him, but why is it always you that's being tested? Like, why is it always you the one? Because he's the hottest one in the house. Everyone wants a piece of that ass. That's why. Like, seriously. And she tells Kaz, oh no, I already said that. So it's the next day, and everyone is filing in. All the ladies pass, and all the men pass, and and here comes Nick to say, so this is what's up. Everyone is up for grabs. No one is matched. So go at it. Match you with whatever you want. Then the girls talk on their own. And Melinda's like, well, Jess, I don't know if you know, but like, he carried me to the bathroom. And Jess is like, well, he mentioned, obviously, he mentioned that. And he's like, but he kissed me. Not once, but twice. And I kissed him back. And she's like, oh, first off, which I do want to question Jess on this a little bit, but it's okay. I'll let this one go. Jess is like, so is this the time and place to bring this up? She's getting mad at Melinda for bringing the information. And I'm just like, yikes. Which I get it, but I don't at the same time. And listen, I'll get to my thoughts and feelings with the cutie situation because we're not there yet. But at this point in time, I'm thinking Melinda is a shit disturber. She is trying to get her 15 minutes. That's what it felt like. But to find out that's not actually the case is really interesting. Um, Harry comes by at this point and she's like, great timing. So what the fuck happened? Because you clearly didn't tell me everything. So let's talk about it. So that's the end of episode 8. Episode 9, Harry is like, you want your 15 minutes of fame, Melinda. That's what you're doing. And she's like, oh yeah? So it explains to me then. How did my black ass makeup get on him? Well, on his face, she's saying. Well, somehow, some way, there was rubbing of the faces. Just comes at her like, it feels like you want to hurt me, which it does come across that way. And I think Melinda does come across that way because I think she is very out there and unapologetically herself. And that can come across as threatening. For sure, I would get that. But it does come across that way, which does kind of have the credibility issue here with Melinda. Um, and the ladies asked Melinda, like, if you don't like any guys here, why did you kiss Harry? Because apparently, I guess Melinda said she didn't like any of the guys here. So then why would you do? But if Harry leaned in for a kiss and he's carrying her, that's gonna put Melinda in some kind of mood. So even if she's not necessarily into any of the guys here, she's not gonna turn away a kiss. It's a free for all, basically, for her. So, yeah. Then Tulum is like, oh, Chris is full of shit. Let's talk to him because Xanthi told her what Chris told her. Great. She's like, Xanthi, come on over and talk to us. And he denies he's being held down by Tulu because he used that terminology. He says that she's not the last option, but isn't she? Because you were with Dominique, then you matched with the least, and then you went to Tulu. So it kind of feels like maybe you are, because when you didn't match with the least is when she matched with Justin. You know what I mean? So it does kind of feel like that. And she basically says, you know what? Go do you, honey boo boo. Go do you. Laura tells Jess, this girl is trying to fuck things up, which that's what it feels like. So she's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's what Jess is going to do. But Harry is adamant, I did not kiss Melinda. Okay. Then, I think it's Britain or Brighton, whichever one it is. I think it's Britain. And Nigel, tell Kaz that Micah says, we're not the strongest. And he's like, oh, really? I didn't get that memo. And he's like, I'm constantly being told I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. And yet, like, she's holding things to herself. So he says, so if I'm constantly the problem, then let me then be the problem. So Christine, honey, what's up? And I'm like, oh no. He's like, you're my number one. And then he talks to Holly, asks Holly, are you a good kisser? He then talks to Pink Hair, which that's Britain. And Micah's like, what the hell is happening right now? He didn't even have a conversation with her. He just went, I'm a problem and let me be the problem. And Brighton is here like, I burned it all down. Let me go talk to Micah now. And Elise is a little bit jealous because he also talked to her, the mixer, and he kind of isn't giving her a lot of time. Then, oh my God, y'all, Kaz kisses Holly in front of capital everyone. All caps, everyone, including Micah. And he says, after he kissed Holly, I didn't feel a tingle in my balls, I guess. So he didn't feel a tingle. And I'm just like, and he didn't, he talks to Micah and he's like yelling at her for kissing Holly. Like he literally saying it's your fault that I kissed Holly is what it feels like. And everyone's like, yo, is he yelling at her? Saying anyway that she's not genuine. I'm hearing rumors about this X, Y, and Z. And basically, honestly, he showed his ass in this moment. And Izzy instantly just comes over and he says, let me be that rock for you right now. Like, you need a friend. Let me be here for you. Like, he's being really great. Izzy, who was a guy? Anyway, then Kaz matches with Christine. So this will be interesting. Steven talks to Jess and is like, people start shit. Not everything you hear is true. Um, maybe Melinda's not telling the truth. And then Jess talks to Melinda and she is saying how Harry said, I want to fuck you. I want to put babies in you. That they will be handsome and tall and athletic. This is what he apparently says to Melinda. And this is what Melinda is telling Jess. So, yeah. Take a pause on that for a minute. Elise is over Justin and wants Brighton. She's like, Justin, you're boring. She's like, it feels like an 80s movie, which no one wants that, I guess. She wants Brighton. So they match. She then goes and asks Justin after they matched to break the news to him. And he's like, oh, so you're gonna match with Brighton? Okay. And he's like, I'm out. He doesn't want to hear her out. She's trying to talk to him. He won't allow her to. She's getting mad that he won't hear her out. And it's like, but he doesn't have to hear you out. He doesn't have to. You want him to, but he doesn't have to. And he's like, let me think about it. I'm a boys. I'm out. Micah is disgusted. I think we all are. And goes to Izzy and is like, I trust you. I'm comfortable with you. I don't feel comfortable with anyone else right now, so let's match. And he agrees. Tulu talks to Chris. Chris is crying, I think, about messing up with Tulu. They say no more testing this relationship. Enough's enough, and they match. Harry and Jess talk, and she says, I have to also think of the example for my daughter. And right now, I don't feel like maybe you are the best example for that. And he insists this is all made up. None of this happened the way she's trying to say it did. He's like, I'm tired of defending myself. I'm not this bad guy anymore. And he says, is there a chance that she can make this work with him? Episode 10. Our final episode, y'all. She says to him, Jess, we're still with Jess and Harry here. She says to him, I'm doubting it because of the whole baby comment that you apparently made to Melinda. And he says it's not true. It's not true, it's not true, it's not true. And she says, my intuition is saying you think you want to be a certain person, but that maybe you're not there yet. And he's not there yet. And you need to kind of test that out with maybe someone who isn't Jess, who doesn't have a child to think about, and a daughter at that. Even more so, not even so much the matter if it's a daughter or a son, because you want to make the example of the kind of men you want your daughter to be with, and you want to also display the type of man you want your son to be. So it doesn't even matter, really. But she says, I do not want to match with you tonight. So that they're done, yo. Micah is in the room with Izzy, and she just cannot stop talking about Kaz. Poor Izzy. Like, she's just like, and they're like making out with her right now. And she's like, I just feel so stupid. And she won't stop talking about Kaz. While Kaz is making out with Christine in the next room. Like, it's bad. We have the final compatibility challenge called Get Over It. Yikes. They basically have to get over like a bridge thing. Great. Chris and Tulu won that because Laura forgot to ring the bell when Steven got across. They both have to ring a bell once they get across, and she forgot to ring the bell. They literally would have won. So it's the boardroom time. They match Jess and Izzy together. Sorry if y'all can potentially hear someone blaring Blame It on the Rain by Milli Vanilli. I am so sorry. Yikes. Hey. Blame it on the rain. That makes me laugh. Okay. It's just blaring in my ear right now. So they also send Christine on a date with Nigel. Then Nigel asks to talk to Micah, and he says that, not Nigel, sorry, Kaz, while Christine is on the date with Nigel, goes back to Micah and says, I fucked up. Can we have another chance? I'm so sorry that I kissed Holly in front of you and then I matched with Christine. I'm so sorry. And like, go. Okay, had to take a quick break there, but let's continue. So Jess feels the connection with Izzy, but she still has Harry on the brain. Kaz talks to Christine and she calls him out on, so you talk to Micah, I go on a date, then my back turned, and you go and you go back to her. You know, you're disrespectful. But Nigel's coming to the rescue, and we're gonna forget about Kaz. Then we see Jess and Izzy match. We see Nigel and Christine match. Kaz and Michael talk, and he apologizes, but she does question, like, why would you hold her hand or kiss her or kiss Holly if it wasn't right? Like, why would you do it? Because he's bullshitting you. He's backpedaling. That's what he's doing. And you know it because you're asking the questions, you're questioning it. And you know he ain't it. But yeah, you're still going to forgive him. But he gives his weak ass answer, and she accepts that, and they match again. The next morning, Jess and Izzy decide they're going to unmatch because she's just not ready to be in something different right now. She still has hair on the brain. She's not ready. So we're going to bring everyone in for the reunion. We did have like dates for each person. I'm not going to go through all of that. It's fine. Then we're going to go through who are going to be crowning the perfect match and the reunion. So we go couple by couple. Tulum and Chris. Dominique is big mad. I don't even understand why she's big mad. Because like he didn't want to match with you. Like that was so long ago. And she's like saying, like, I don't think you guys are a good match. But no one actually thinks that's well, actually I think everyone agrees that they're not it. Chris says, we'll keep in touch after this. And someone says it straight up. You say she's your perfect match, but then you're going to say, oh, we'll stay in touch after this. Interesting. Clearly, she's not your perfect match. Next, Elise and Brighton. Dominique says, Elise, I think you might be attracted to egotistical men because if we look at your track record here, you matched with Harry. A little bit egotistical. At least maybe in his past anyways. Then you matched with Brighton, another egotistical guy. You matched with Justin. Well, we'll leave Chris out of it because they weren't like a true match, but you matched with Justin, who's maybe not an egotistical guy. He actually seems like a decent guy. And that's not enough for you. So I think she's onto something. Christina and Nigel. Cass is like, she says that she wants an alpha male, but he's kind of not that. And everyone's like, well, wait, how do you even know that? It's kind of an accusation that you shouldn't be making. And Nigel says, just because I'm maybe not an alpha male in like the loud sense, I am still an alpha male or whatever. I mean, I think the term alpha male is so toxic anyways. But other than that, like he is saying like, I'm still in, I can be in charge of things. Like, you don't have to even, what's the word I'm looking for? Defend himself. Kaz and Micah. Holly says, it feels like you use other women to weaponize to weaponize your relationship. Amen. He did it to Holly. He did it to Britain. He did it to Christine. And it's true. That is exactly what he does. And Christine is like, you're a scammer. I think the only person you can date is the devil or something like that. Like she's basically saying, maybe it's a stretch. And I think I would say this better. I think he's just a guy who claims he's one way, but he actually isn't that way. So yeah, I do kind of see that. She's like, you go on a date, I go on a date with Nigel and you run back to Micah. And she surely deserves better, which that part I will agree with. She really does deserve better. What is and Nick asks Micah if Kaz is her perfect match. And Micah says, I would like him to answer first. Just kidding. Now, if you understand this, if you watched Love is Blind, if all remember, they made Micah say yes on the wedding day, and Paul said no after. So funny. Stephen and Laura. Xanthi is like, I think you guys should enjoy it while it lasts, because I don't. Because I don't think like you guys are going to actually last. So I love seeing them together. I do think they're happy in the moment, but I do kind of have to agree. I don't think they're going to last. And I think the reason they won't is because of the distance. So yeah, I don't think it's going to last, but prove me wrong, please. Please. So Nick basically says at this point, what about the rest of you? Anything else anyone else wants to say here? And Harry speaks up and says, I'm grateful for Jess. I feel at home when I'm with her. And here is our cuties moment and perfect match. We see footage of this moment between Harry and Melinda. And y'all, the motherfucker was lying. He did do everything that Melinda accused him of. He kissed her. We heard it. He said, I want to fuck you. He mentioned the babies. His comment was made. Everything was made from the lips of Harry. He did this. And I want to say, I believe that Melinda was trying to get her 15 minutes and she found it in Harry. I don't, and I apologize. That's not what happened. And I think the reason why I felt that is because I thought Melinda really was a lot. I do think that she's not necessarily my cup of tea, and I can admit that. But this just kind of goes to show the dangers of men who want to discount women. And not only that, we have this man discounting a Black woman and say, oh, she did it to me or something like that, which just doesn't lend well to the narrative that is put on Black women. And I'm guilty of that in this moment, but that's more because I just don't like her. Not because I think she was lying. I think the millionth time her saying the same thing and her story wasn't changing, I'm like, did something happen? And maybe she just blew it up a little more. Like, did something happen? I don't like, so be seen here. It happened. And Jess really did dodge a bullet. And I'm very happy. Anyway, the final thing here is we have the winner of the perfect match. And that is Christine and Nigel, y'all. I was shook. I was not expecting Christine and Nigel to be the perfect match. But I'm gonna see if I can get like an update of where are they now. So hold on tight. I'll be right back with them. Where are they now? See if I can figure this out. Okay, so I am back in, giving you a where are they now, in case no one looked this up or whatever. So let's start from the beginning. What was our for the perfect match? Christine and Nigel weren't apparently in the right space to make it work, so they are not together. Let's see what I can find here. So they managed to outlast the other couples too. After leaving Mexico, the two dated on and off for about 9 months. Christine says that she even suggested couples therapy before ultimately going their separate ways. She said, quote, I had the great opportunity to leave the show with a partner and experience them as a whole. This is what Nigel said. Unfortunately, after trying to work things out, we separated. According to Christine, the relationship hit a snag when reality snuck in. I have learned from our relationship that two people who have not fully healed from past traumas are only going to cause more damage and deflect their insecurities onto one another. I've given my all to this relationship, but a partnership can only work when both are fully committed. Despite how it ended, Nigel has no regrets about leaning fully into the experience, saying, quote, I went in with an open mind and heart and gave it my all and ultimately ended up winning. It's possible to find love on TV, Regardless of the camera, the feelings are still real and the bonds are real. So that's basically that. Next, Micah and Kaz's relationship was meant to live and die in Mexico. Not surprising. So they're not together. So as Kaz recalls, actually, sorry, let's back up a little bit here. So yes, their connection was snuffed out after filming ended. We were not together. Our relationship stayed in Mexico, where it was meant to live and die. Micah says, I definitely don't regret spending my time with him. There was a lot of drama and turmoil, but also a lot really great and fun moments that I'm really happy I experienced. He's just not the person for me. As Cass recalls, Michael was the one to cut things off as rumors began swirling around events, including an alleged kiss with another cast member that supposedly happened post-finale. Saying, quote, before we even made it off the show, she sent me a text message saying that she truly hates me. It escalated very quickly, but she was messaging other people. The two don't currently speak, but reunited for the first time at Netflix's summer break event in May, where they broke the ice after months of zero contact. He says, I hold no grudges anyway. So that's basically that. Next, long distance got the best of Laura and Steven, so they are not together. Steven's advice for a successful post-reality show relationship, quote, don't try and date someone who lives in another country. But a long-distance relationship proved too difficult for the pair. Steven calls Los Angeles home while Laura was London-based once filming wrapped. We just really weren't able to speak. By the time I was waking up, she was going to bed. I'm not always on my phone like people think I am. I barely post on social media, so it just didn't work out in that sense. The breakdown in communication caused a rift between the two, who hadn't spoken until Netflix's summer break event. I don't think she took too fondly, which I don't blame her. It is a tough situation, but at the same time, I was true to myself and what I needed to do. During the event, however, Laura made a point to pull Steven for a much-needed conversation. So Steven's actually in a new relationship. So that's good for him. That's basically that. Brian and Elise split due to a lot of drama after filming. I mean, after matching with, as well goes past that. During their first and ultimately final date, the two generally seemed to connect. He's in Squid Game. He would visit Elise in her hometown of London to give their budding connection a real chance. Unfortunately, no international trips were booked after filming, as the two are no longer together, chalking up their short-lived romance as terrible judgment on her behalf. Saying a lot of drama after filming with him, but she's since moved on to a new relationship with someone too hot to handle. Fans will certainly recognize Nathan from season 3, saying, quote, I'm madly in love with a gorgeous boy. It's been almost a year now. When she's not bopping around London with her beau, Elise says she's been modeling and traveling in addition to launching her company, Haws of Hutch, with her sister. So cool. So that's basically that. Next, Chris and Toulouse's relationship is non-existent. Again, not surprising. So let's see what I have here. So as Toulouse sees it, Chris didn't turn out to be her very own Prince Charming at the end of the day. Saying, quote, there were ups and downs with my experience with Chris in the house. I don't regret it. I learned a lot about myself, what I want in a relationship, and what I will never settle for in a partner. So fortunately for me, our relationship did not go past Mexico. So she says, my relationship with Chris as of current is non-existent, and I intend to keep it that way. Good for her. So let's see what she says. Again, not much else there. Harry and Jess are definitely not enemies or friends. So obviously they're not together. I think that's for the best. I don't think we really need to rehash. I think we saw what happened. But she just bring up. As for where they stand now, Jess says, I wouldn't quite call us friends, but we're definitely not enemies. At this point, I just have to meet him where he is. I mean, Harry is Harry. For the record, he wishes he did a lot of things differently, you think? Looking back on the bumpier than usual experience, I've grown so much and done so much work on myself in the last year. Now I get to look at what version of Harry and be like, okay, well, thank God I'm not like that anymore. I get to evaluate myself and make sure that that doesn't happen again. So it's basically that. to us. Then we're going to get a little bit of update on some other people here. So Izzy apparently is in a relationship and is about to pop a question. Good for him. Britton is focusing on self-love, so we don't know if she's in a relationship or not. Dominique is done with heteronormative shit, and she is in a relationship. What else? Justin is at peace with going full certified lover boy. Don't know if he's in a relationship or not. Melinda found her perfect match outside of the villa, so she's in a relationship. Being glamorous is the only thing Holly's committing to right now. We don't know if she's in a relationship. Xanthi is single and thriving in Boston, so good for her. And that is basically it. That's the update. That's the episode. So let's see where we're going to be at now. With the next show that's coming up after this. So we're going to be doing Married at First Sight. We're going to be doing 3 episodes, I believe, of Married at First Sight. If it's not 3, again, I will substitute it with something else as a surprise. I don't know what that will be yet. So that will be there. But that is that. Hope everyone enjoys their new year because this is coming out on the 30th. So hope everyone enjoys their new year. And you'll hear from me after the new year in 2025. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I'll read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea ×2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea ×2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea ×2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realitytea2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realitytea2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.